That we will see Clay shoot any bodies. Needs to preserve the Wuju here, but time to kick it off in the hard point. Luminosity versus EUnited. Both of these teams only dropping one map so far here in Montreal. Now up against the absolute cream of the crop. Two of the best teams in the NA vying for mid-map control right now. And shots just fired all over the place. John gets a clean two-piece. Starts to work towards those streaks as well, looking for that fourth. Not going to be able to find it with Pristini's two-piece, and all of a sudden seconds going the way of EUnited.
This is exactly what they needed to do to break, especially because Pristini is in that middle cut to try to rotate on over to the second rotation. Unfortunately for him, he will get taken down. Clayster trying to get his shots down range, and he's going to get taken down. Now Luminosity on that favorable side of the map. Will they continue to slay here and get the scrap points? They will, because they are doing a great job so far, and it is a tight game as expected here at the start of the first rotation.
And this is exactly what we expect as well. You talk about it being close. This hill, just such a 50-50 hill, an absolute bloodbath. We can see laser beams shot out from all directions. Not exactly an easy hill to hold. Spawn's just going to get you right back onto statue, able to fight for it. A little bit easier to hold this hill, though, depending on those spawns, and we can see right now Main Street is going to be that hill. Early rotation coming in here from LG, and we can see a pretty strong setup as well. In the back, we are going to have John. He's going to be preserving those spawns as well, as you do see Octane actually spawn out. They start to get a little bit of a rotation going. Octane going to anchor for his team, but a break comes in from EUnited. Both RCs and Pristini with massive kills. They're able to take out Octane as well. Still, though, with those favorable respawns, it looks like Luminosity can attempt to breach. Silly going to be taken out as he tries to be disruptive. JCap gets that kill where he needs it the most. Quite a few seconds, though, do go to EUnited, but now Luminosity back on the board with a 15-second lead. Only scrap time remaining here on Main Street.
Absolutely right. Of course, that rotation going to go into play for EUnited. Of course, Pristini will get taken down off rotation. Clayster has to play his life here, as this will be the money hill for sure on London Docks, but he immediately gets eliminated, and that is going to be yet another successful break for Luminosity, and they are starting to pile on the points now, leading by 30, and this is going to be up to John to stop all of the players from EUnited that are about to breach on through. He does not get that shot to go home, and Silly is going to be in that objective. And of course, contesting is LG, JCap, and Octane there as well.
Yeah, the first thing you said, Doc's Warehouse is going to be that money hill. It can be one that is very easy to hold. We are going to see a lot of Luminosity names on the winning side of that kill feed. But one of the things that EUnited actually did well in the last series as well, they did actually play this map previously. We saw them just able to break this money hill and get a hold of their own, but Luminosity gets a really strong setup here, get to fight off that aggression. On board with Clayster, gonna throw out that throwable, trying to find a line, gets the assist. Now still very close to this hill, only 11 seconds remain. Clayster gets the kill onto JCap. All his fans in Canada here. Very excited to see that. Clayster being that tempo setter so far in a lot of these games. But the player for me that stood out so far has to be Silly. And he hasn't come alive yet inside of this series, trying to get that two-piece, but cut down to size. But if you watch Silly, you actually got to cast over it. That man was a man possessed time and time again, coming up with these big plays. All of a sudden, though, it is going to be the boys from EUnited getting into beer, getting those seconds, trying to catch up to LG, who had already cracked that 100-point mark, but John and Octane able to get some big kills, and all of a sudden, it is them on the scoreboard yet again with plenty of time left in barrel and a long walk back.
And this is where EUnited has to figure out a way to slow down the gameplay a little bit, figure out a way to just thwart all of those kills off rotation from EUnited here if they want to get themselves, from Luminosity if they want to get themselves back into this match. But as it is now, these kills are still going in favor of Luminosity, as it is Octane that is able to get some of the scrap points. But of course, those rotations are going to be in favor of EUnited, as Clayster is sitting inside that objective and will get grenaded for the time being. But Pristini in a good position to be able to get some kills here and get those spawns for his squad.
Yeah, that big kill, though, onto John. We're getting MVP John today, but the big kill going to cut down his streets. Octane also coming alive here. Slow start, but now at that 14-7 mark, starting to get these really valuable engagements here. You can see him pick off Pristini there as well. Streak's going to come in. That's off the back of Slack. That's going to take out Silly and ensure a massive amount of times inside of Doc's Crane. Inside this hardpoint too, with those favorable spawns, going to mean that they're able to just run away with this hill, start to turn it into a place to get a lot of points. Not going to be able to break that 200 mark, though, on this hill, so an early rotation going to be very important from them as well. Break comes in here. Arseny's absolutely lighting up. Alec has just looked like one of the best players in the world all throughout the day, coming up with these clutch plays over and over again for EUnited. Now, only 5 seconds remain. Rotations starting to come in. Spawns flipped out.
Yeah, they did, and that was really EUnited having to play for scrap points as well, simply because they're trailing by so much. But by doing that, they actually gave the team, the spawns, and LG needing to, continue to rack up these points. They were okay with that, obviously, because now on mid-map, they're able to hold really, really well. EUnited having to pinch and work on getting this game back in their side, but it is looking slow here as that 200-point mark is just so close here for the boys in Luminosity.
Also, when John's going to drop 20 inside a match, what are you going to do? We've already seen just how much he can do on the world stage now against EUnited, putting on a show for us. Luminosity looking primed here, and this tournament was their opportunity to show that they are one of the best teams in the world. Kind of put the doubters to rest, saying maybe something is wrong with this squad, not necessarily performing at that top echelon of play, but against EUnited now, they look incredible on this hard point. Already breaking that 200 mark, moving on over to Main Street. First kills that we are going to see, though, are going to be going the way of EUnited. Pristini coming up with a big kill onto John, inside of the hard point as well. Finally does get cut down.
Octane here in a good position to continue to hold these spawns for his team, able to slay out their Silly, and Arcades will fall for EUnited, and Octane is getting warmed up on a 4-kill spree. Make that 5 as he's absolutely tearing it up. Oh. And he's got his streaks. He's working on his last one, and this is just the performance you needed from Octane to get this map 1 victory, and he has been absolutely fantastic for his team. John also getting in on the action with streaks of his own, but this is starting to really, really climb away here for EUnited. They don't have a response yet. They're only going to break for scrap points, and that's going to give another clean rotation on over to the boys from LG.
Brand new title, brand new LG team, but the question remains the same for Luminosity Gaming. Is your boy LaRue shredding? Now, just a few more seconds needed for LG to close out this first respawn inside of the series. Octane again with a massive 2-piece, now going to utilize these streaks and try to close it out right here on Doc's Warehouse. Gonna be able to find Clayster, gonna be able to find Silly, gonna be able to take this one home. But right behind him gets shot in the back by Pristini. The sneakiest man on this map, gonna get some additional shots here for EUnited, gonna be able to find some more. All of a sudden gonna start to run away with this money hill, but they have a long road ahead of them. Pristini gonna call in some streaks of his own, gonna connect onto JCap with that glide bomb. Wow, Pristini, my goodness. More streaks to work with as well.
And they're down by a bunch. They need everyone else to start slaying like Pristini just was able to do there. Of course, he is fully streaked out after the use of that glide bomb, though. He's only going to have 2 to utilize for now. But Pristini has to get this kill. That's going to be fantastic for him and his teammate Clayster, who's also in that objective and trying to push things out. He's going to get taken down. Silly now having to just survive as long as he can, but it will be John that will come in with a 2-piece of his own, and Octane now in the objective by himself, trying to close things out here on the barrel building hardpoint. And for now, it's going to be EUnited that's going to be able to survive just long enough.
They are able to make that stand. Not the best spawns coming in on the side of Luminosity, but that early rotation gets them so many seconds on the board. Now they just need 2 more. Flooding in is EUnited, trying to get the contest, trying to make that last stand. But it looks like the slaying power of Luminosity will be too much. Trying to shut this one out. There's the big kill from John. More boys from EUnited able to crash this hard point, and they are putting on a show. Clayster and Silly, but Slack gets the 2-piece, gets the 2 seconds, able to close this one out for LG. This is what Luminosity needed to. They needed to come out like this inside of the respawn. It was one of the first things we said. Now they're headed to search and destroy, and even after that victory, if you're a Luminosity fan, you're probably pretty nervous right now. 50% win rate in SND at Dallas.
Yes, and that has changed a little bit throughout this weekend, but I will say this. That's a game type you can't afford to just have that mediocre percentage
I mean,
coming in, especially on LAN. And that's, I think, the main point you're making there as well, is that that percentage is based at Dallas, which was a LAN. obviously.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day,
I think the big thing is here is really looking at those Dallas stats going to be very helpful because of the amount that we actually do have. The sample size is going to be a little bit different here, going to be slightly skewed to try to grab stats from this match. We talk about the fact that these guys have only dropped maybe one map so far here inside of Montreal, inside of this tournament. Maybe that they haven't dropped a series, but that also means that the amount of matches that they played has been somewhat limited. So trying to draw from those stats might be a little bit inaccurate, may fall into that recency bias thing. So I think saying that Luminosity's weakest mode is S&D, I think it's pretty safe to say. But that's not the case for EUnited. We just saw them on an S&D able to take out Ground Zero, which is a team that is built around S&D. Ground Zero definitely made it difficult for EUnited, but EUnited is able to take that, and you say, hey, look, a team can't be just dropping searches. You can't go into a match and say, hey, look, we're just going to do it on respawn, because we've already seen just how much of a swing capture the flag really can be for these teams. EUnited being a team, too, where a lot of the time they can just go, hey, look, we're going to play fast. Right. We're going to run our subs. We're just going to run in PPSH and just rain havoc. And we've seen how much they can actually get done with that pressure, with that speed, converting that tempo into cap after cap. And it was something that we saw on this map in particular as well. So that is going to be happening in the third game. That's going to be one of the most definitive moments in this matchup. But if LG can come out here and win in an S&D, all of a sudden it just looks like their series to take.
I completely agree with you on the side of the CTF that we were talking about. That is a neutralizing game type where it could just completely turn the tide of the entire series throughout. And overall, I think that we've already seen how EUnited went into an OT against Ground Zero and ultimately did come out on top. LG, though, with their slaying capability, they cannot afford to go down 3-0. It's just not what you want to be able to see if you are on the side of EUnited. So
I do not understand how Sam can be yawning up on the main stage and still just absolutely ripping people off headies. The man is a monster.
Well, yawning gives you oxygen to your brain, and clearly it's working for him.
That's what it is. It's some sort of strategy. It's some sort of the ancient monk breathing technique.
That's what it is,
enabling here in Canada. But everybody looking good on both of these sides. They're really putting on a show for us. This is why one of the first things you ask me is, like, what matchup are you excited to see? And I said the potential for Luminosity EUnited, one of the biggest reasons I booked this plane ticket to Montreal. One of the main things I wanted to see, and we're getting it here in the winners finals. Before this series, neither of these teams had dropped more than one map. No one dropping a series. Loser of this has to go for that run inside of that loser's bracket to potentially play the team.
And that's a gauntlet, too.
It's a huge gauntlet, and we've already seen the talent that's waiting there.
Right.
It's an insane lineup. We had the 8 best teams in the world. I actually had an opportunity to talk to quite a few people inside of the arena here today. The setup is quite nice. You're able to talk to everyone in between matches, and just everyone's saying the level of play, the level of these teams. It's been quite an incredible tournament to watch, and a few of those matches going to be going on off stream. But there are some sharks inside of that loser's bracket. But kicking off this search and destroy, Clayster going to be first blooded here by John. Silly going to be able to equalize. Plant coming down from Prestini inside of this first round. Everybody huddled up around the site. Prestini going to push out alongside Silly. Sneaky plays, though, here from Octane. Who will be the first to make contact? Octane takes out
Oh, my God.
My goodness.
That is just something you don't expect from a sniper player, being able to get a hit marker there and then the hipfire kill and shooting bodies right there. Of course, that will be that defuse that will go through. Luminosity starting out 1-0. Of course, JCap is going to end up getting the defuse after all, as he is going to work a little bit closer to those streaks. So good objective play to just command that retake of that bomb site. And really, it was Octane that was able to do so with the most unconventional loadout in that situation that we've seen. But the machine pistol obviously pays dividends here on World War II, and that is exactly why we saw that happen. Of course, we're looking at the Skycam here. Another change in offense. We'll see here as they will be favored this time around.
Instantly tagged up. Octane trying to get that cover to start things off. Huddled around the A bomb site. We can see a spread to a few players around B. Slack, though, going to be able to get this plant down nice and easy. Wrapping around is going to be Clayster. followed up by Silly, potentially looking for that pinch, trying to look for a flank. Big kill, though, going to come out from John. Now this fight between him and Clayster is going to be huge. With that machine pistol, not able to get it done. John going to be able to find him as well. And all of a sudden, John starting to work towards those streaks. 3-1. Arsity's going to find Slack sleeping inside of... Oh, there's the two-piece as well. Arsity's looking phenomenal. 1v1 situation. Arsity versus JCap. Arsity, one of the breakout players of last year. JCap, seasoned veteran, shot in the back by Arsity's. Arsity's going to be able to take this round for EUnited and tie it up early, 1-1, headed into round 3.
That is a clutch that is going to really set the tempo from here on out on this map. It might be a tie game, but EUnited is absolutely elated based on that performance there by Arsity's. What a clutch coming in from him. And of course, now they're on offense. They have to figure out a way to take this lead, man, because LG is definitely taking a little bit of punishment there after that clutch.
Arcity is just one of the best players in the world. There's just no question about it. This title, he's absolutely thriving. Now on board with Prestini, his brother, running that sub. Clayster's going to be able to find that kill onto John, though. Prestini going to be able to get down the defuse due to that kill. Luminosity only with 2 players to work with as well. EUnited incredibly favored in this 3rd round. And you said that those kills from Arcity, you said that that clutch was going to set that pace. And you can see the momentum being translated onto the map. Clayster looking for the kill, going to be able to get it onto Octane. Another round going the way of EUnited.
They're finding ways to win these rounds. They really are. And it boils down to their clock management and getting that bomb down. That is what's helping them solidify these rounds, and it's really, really helped out that you've got cuts being, held by the likes of Arsity's. That's how they're going to lead right now, as it will be a 2-1 advantage here for EUnited, of course. It will now be LG on offense.
You can just see Arsity's, Prestini, Clayster, all 3-2 here. Octane going to be taken out by Clayster as well. Tall order for Luminosity coming back into this one. One of the most difficult game modes for them as a squad. And EUnited just showing prowess so far in SND on London docks. Once again, having that man advantage. Silly already down. John trying to hold that line. Instantly realize it's not a good fight. Going to move back, trying to hold the line, trying to hold that cut. Slacked is going to be the carrier right now. Moving off of B, trying to move towards A, but he could run right into Arsity's. Slacked, paying slow, going to find Clayster, gets tagged up. Not going to be a good fight, taken out of this one. John, last one standing for Luminosity. This man has been the MVP before, but if he can clutch up here, it would be an absolute miracle.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a 1v3. Of course, it was EUnited that was able to survive that one.
Would it be the first time in this series? Yeah,
exactly. So, as it is now, John has got a lot of work to do because that bomb is down right by these players, able to make it a 1v2. But he is tagged up. He is one-shot absolute here, and he's having to reload as well. The machine pistol not going to pay dividends. He's going to go down, and now we're starting to see EUnited pull away here, Rich, and this is looking scary for LG.
That's 3 in a row as well. We saw LG pick up the first one, but all of a sudden EUnited has found their number and has punched that ticket. We'll see sides rotate now. But it does look like EUnited can run away with this one. LG needs to make their stand and quick because 3 rounds in that back pocket of EUnited. Prestini is going to be our carrier coming into this round. Looks like a lot of pressure going out to that B site right now by our boys in the blue shorts. Luminosity going to be clustered around A, trying to value that mid-map control, and they've done it very well, and that mid-map control can be huge as Prestini tries to get this plant, does get tagged up, but able to survive that without a problem.
Hunker, a huge part of
Hunker's
that meta, of course. It's been a lifesaver. And, of course, you might be able to hear footsteps, but it's not going to matter when you're able to get that objective down. Still, 3v4, LG, having the man count advantage, but the clock is running down. And Octane could potentially open things up. Slacked, able to pick up Prestini, and that's going to be JCap now able to make it a 1v2 as Arsity's is working on just making sure that this defuse does not go down. And man, is he going to be a hero here for EUnited as he's able to get it.
Oh my goodness!
He absolutely does.
my goodness. He gets the 1v3. Now he's going to be able to get the 1v2. What's next? He's just going to pull out an ace. Arcades is the best player in the world.
I'm calling it.
Insane.
It's going to be an ace. It's going to be an ace the next round we see him. He is absolutely on fire here on Championship Sunday, and this team is looking absolutely dominant. Wow, if you're LG, you got to figure out a way to stop the bleeding here. You cannot go down 5-1 to EUnited right now.
I mean, Clayster's having such a good series as well. You see that he's 6-3, but it's Arcedy's just at the biggest moments, able to clutch up time and time again. A scoreboard can't reflect the nature of some of those kills. Arcedy's is going to be able to pick up another one here on John. Now it is just all JCap. Going to be able to find Silly, going to be able to even it out just a little bit. Now just a 1v2. Still going to be difficult. Huddling around that statue, going to move back through the cut. Going to try to keep his eyes on A, still close to B as well. Decent positioning coming out here from JCap, but you can see playing in duos going to be EUnited, taking out JCap just one more round until they take this.
Rich, I have to point out something too. The trading for EUnited has completely turned around. They're always in a position to pick up those trades. Meanwhile, on the other side, you saw that round previously, a few rounds previously, where Slack had the bomb in hand, was rotating through to the back of Fire by himself without any support, and that round was a loss as well. These are things that we're going to have to see cleaned up for LG if they're going to keep themselves in this one. But as it is right now, it is another aggressive B-bomb push. Pristini there to set up for a trade. He's going to go down, and now you're starting to see that EUnited is finally starting to fall here.
Silly going to be able to get a big kill, going to be able to find two, isn't able to find the third. So that means Luminosity going to pick up their first round here since all the way at the beginning. Like, that's been the craziest thing to actually see. It was 5 rounds in a row for EUnited. And the question before we actually saw this round was, is the problem with LG's S&D that they lose composure? That was kind of one of the big questions that I had before we even saw this series, and then it starts to get echoed. The second that they start to lose their footing, they just jump right off the edge. But now picking up that second round for them in round 7, moving into round 8, can they go for a run, or will EUnited be able to tie up this series 1-1? Slacked with a beautiful line, takes out Pristini, looks for Arcedy's, a beautiful two-piece coming in for Josiah. 4-2, it looks like Luminosity starting to wake up, but Clayster and Silly still on this map can put up a fight around A. And you talk about how they're going for trades. They are going to stay together, play in that duo around A. And this is the same that we saw coming out from EUnited. It seems to be something in their playbook. When JCap was the last one left on the map, they went over to that A site again. But Luminosity going to find that open pocket onto the map, rotate on over to B, and start to set up around that bomb. Now it is going to be in EUnited's hands. They have to actually go in, push in, and they're able to chop down into, they get chopped down into the pre-aim of Luminosity. Luminosity now 5-3. They're starting to come back. EUnited with 5.
That's exactly why you saw that rotation over. They were initially going to go A. They rotated over to B because they knew they had the man count advantage. And a retake on B without smokes or anything like that, and with the disadvantage when it comes to man count, is very, very difficult to be able to do. But, you know, EUnited, unfortunately, not able to get this map point to go their way quite yet, but they're still on it. Luminosity climbing back into it, though, as Pristini is trying to be the lead blocker here for his squad. But remember, he also has that bomb in hand, so he cannot afford to get picked here. And he's going to be able to spot Slack, but he doesn't finish that kill, and he goes down. The bomb is now down in no man's land, and it's all up to Clayster, who's using his streaks, and he's probably going to connect here, but he's in a really tough spot.
Good placement coming out there. Clayster, though, all alone, and we've already seen Slack being the boogeyman so far for LG. 7-6 at the time being, and looking for streaks as well. 4 in a row for him. Clayster over onto Statue, trying to dot his I's, cross his T's, but it is going to be both Slacked and Octane, the former members of LG, still here as a duo, who he has to make it through to get this defused. Octane going to be able to cut him down. That is another one for Luminosity, climbing back into this one, tooth and nail, 5-4. 4, looking in this next round to tie it all up and bring it to round 11.
This is where you see the number 1 seed clash with the number 2 seed, and we are starting to see that completely unravel in front of our eyes right now. 1 round away before forcing this round 11 here is LG, and that is something we did not expect after they allowed 5 consecutive rounds. But my God, are they finding the way to get back into this one, as JCap is going to be the player we're on board with here to see if he can get that first blood to go his way, but sneaky plays overall by United so far.
Slack's gonna first blood Clayster here, and we already said just how huge it would be for LG if they were able to take a single search. John gonna be able to find a kill as well. 4v2 situation. Streaks called in, not to much avail. Clustered again around A is going to be EUnited, and this is going to be the same thing that we saw again. Now we're going to see LG be able to plant onto B. They're going to be able to set up to hold it, and now it is going to be EUnited who has to come in with a breaching play. They have to come into that pre-aimed shot of LG. They're going to be running right into unfavorable gunfights. Good plays coming in here from LG, trying to tie this one up. Arcity, though, looking to go the distance again. Finds one, but is going to be taken out. And we're going to round 11, the number 1 seeded team in NA against the number 2 seeded team in NA. And they are trying to settle the score. Only one of them can be the top dog. And by the end of Canada, we will find our answer.
This is just an absolute clash of titans, man, because this has just been one of the best comebacks so far we've seen this tournament. Of course, I'm going to go on board with the defense here. LG, after consecutive rounds to force this round 11, they have streaks as well. Will they be able to outlast EUnited here? Or will EUnited clutch up
Slack
like we know they can?
Here. Slack has these streaks, and we're going to see him start to look to call them in right now, getting things underway. The plant is going to be coming in, but these streaks could be monumental. We are going to see that Octane is first blood. Now Slacked with that fighter pilot trying to connect here. He sees around B, but heads up play coming in from EUnited, able to avoid that gunfire. On board with Pristini. Winner of this takes the search. Round 11, Slacked going to be able to find that kill. Previously using those streaks, we've already seen how deadly he can be, pulling out that machine pistol. Not able to connect though. Gets a little bit of time here around B. Going to be able to find a second. But my goodness, EUnited able to do it. We did not expect it to go all the way to that round 11, but this was huge to them. They could not drop the search to Luminosity, but I don't care if you're a Luminosity fan or an EUnited fan. After that show they just put on, I'm pretty sure you're going to be asking both these teams to sign your scuff.
What an incredible finish right there. They stopped the bleeding right before they bled out. That's exactly what you needed to see, and EUnited absolutely doing what they have to do to keep themselves in this series, and now going into that CTF, the neutralizing game type, it's all up for grabs right here.
I mean, the CTF headed into this series, pointed out, it can be the fulcrum, right? And there is a huge potential to actually see the entire round, the entire series be determined by that CTF. If you're going to say, okay, we favor EUnited in the search, we favor LG inside of the hard point, you know, it is really going to come down to that CTF. But it's been shown by both of these teams that they have the skill to take the steal respawns. They have the skill to steal, search, and destroy. I think LG here starting to prove, you said so far in Canada, you've seen them come out and search and destroy and look very strong.
And it's been carrying over. And that's one thing that, as you just mentioned, that is the most important thing for them to continue to do. Play these rounds one game at a time. Because at the end of the day, at any point in time, you're going to have a player like Arcides be able to clutch up at the right time and keep his team in it. Those clutches
you have to go back to that.
Really amazing.
Yeah, you really do.
Even though it seemed like it was kind of null and void at the time because they were allowing so many consecutive round wins, after that, you could see that that clutch factor was still remaining there. It was still a thing that could come back up. And boy, did it show up at the right time. 6-5 win for them.
Looking at that series overall, right, you basically have LG pick up the first round. And then after that, EUnited just runs a clinic, and it's phenomenal. And you talk about the fact that Arcides comes up with those big clutches. It looked like they were essentially just doing it for style points. It was like, okay, Arcides is trying to get into the top 5. He's doing a good job at it as well. But if he wasn't able to come up with those big clutches, That's LG's map. You see LG all over this series.
There's no way they should
scoreboard.
have lost that.
You know, if Arcitys doesn't get those clutch plays, I totally agree with you. They go into the CTF, and if they're able to pick that up, they run with the 3-0. So Arcitys just is the GOAT for that team right now. Definitely coming up big for EUnited, but CTF, all eyes going to be on both of these squads. This is going to be the swing map inside of this series, and we get to do it once again on side of our new home, London Docks.
It absolutely is, and of course, for those of you who are just joining in, the series is all knotted up. Luminosity was in full control. EUnited able to get things going at the right time and clutching up on that round 11. Of course, they're preparing for map number 3, which is, of course, still going to be on London Docks. But what we've seen from EUnited on London Docks CTF is the ability to clutch on that game type and map combination as well. They were able to go in there on OT, win that OT to stay in the winner's bracket. And I'm looking forward to continue to see not only this fantastic apparel here by Pristini, but also their ability to clutch up when they need to.
Yeah, you saw Clayster actually on his phone there. I was double checking to see what he was tweeting out. I assumed it would be something along the lines of like, oh, I knew we had it the entire time. Yeah, I didn't actually see a tweet just go out though. But the question will be on this CTF, who is able to take it? LG, though, has already shown, I'm very impressed with what they were able to do inside of that S&D, because you already talked about the fact that Arcitys really is the saving grace for EUnited inside of that. So if we do get to that next search, maybe LG will actually be able to steal one. So impressive play by them, but I think you start to favor whoever takes this CTF by a mile inside of the series.
And we already know that 3 flag caps going into the second set of play on this map is not a guarantee. Even though EUnited was able to finish it out in OT, you cannot get complacent at all here on London Docks.
That's a really important thing to actually pay attention to, is the last CTF that we watched, because EUnited got really comfortable there. They got really comfortable. Clay definitely putting on a show, and that's one of the reasons that we love him. But all of a sudden, they don't get that one pull, and just tooth and nail, ground zero, able to fight back in. Really scrappy plays coming out from them, but you can see just how high the score potential is on side of this map in particular. Very popular play is just to get that mid-map control and then run and pull that flag straight down mid. Big kills going to come out here from John. It looked like Clayster had the upper hand. Silly going to be able to get the kill onto JCap to start things off. And mid-map control not solidified at this point, but starting to look like it's going to go the way of EUnited.
Oh my God.
And Silly going to make sure that he gets that mid-map control with this kill. Moving back into Beer. Isn't going to see him yet, but finally John going to stop Silly's warpath. Silly came alive inside of this game mode as well, onside this map in that last series. If Silly can do that again, there's no team in the world that can beat EUnited.
And right now, they're going with that same setup that they had. The loadouts are very similar. They have 3 SMGs pressuring those lanes on the map. But as of right now, they're getting outslayed. LG starting to push through. They're past the mid-map point here. And Octane trying to set up to kill Silly here and open things up even further as he's making his way into fire. He's going to have a defensive stand to come through here from EUnited. And Arcitys is the last man standing to defend. He's able to get that flag carrier for now, but the flag is still alive. And Octane is getting away with it here, as this should be a flag cap. There's no one that's going to, well, you know what? As I say that, he shut me down real fast, because JCap is able to pick that up after that shutdown, but it will go through. And my God, the action was so fast there. Hard to keep up sometimes, but I will say this. Octane is in a good position to stop counter pushes here, and he's been able to do so here in Beer.
That is one of the strengths of Octane as well. I mean, he is incredibly good at killing. If he can stand in a position like that, that is really what he is known for, as one of those AR players. And we can see just how dominant he is when he gets to hold something like Statue, and that control for his team. We actually do see JCap having like this control in the back. Now you can see Arcitys is able to pick up John, but it's just not going to be enough, because Slack running up around the side is going to play it relatively safe here, but ultimately it is going to be Silly who cuts him out.
Pristini now, after that flag was returned, he's trying to get this push to go home as well. His brother Arcitys running that flag down mid. but he's not free and clear quite yet. Now he's been able to cross through mid as he's going to most likely get this flag to go home to tie up the game, and instead gives the cap over, and that's actually going to be good because that's going to help the points as well, and that is a really good way to get these streaks here if you're EUnited. Silly now trying to get that last remaining kill. Now he's going to be fully streaked out. That team play right there is going to be one of those plays that we'll have to highlight.
I actually didn't realize. I thought that he fully streaked out there, but he's able to get those last remaining points and fully streak out, and it's just, oh my goodness, Clayster, oh my goodness, going to look for the last one as well. Going to be able to get it, going to be able to return, working towards streaks as well. Oh man, and now you're starting to see why Montreal has so many Clayster fans, and he's not done yet, looking for more, finally going to be put into his place, not going to be able to get those streaks, but we already know that EUnited, with that cheeky play, they're going to have those streaks. Silly was able to get them, going to have them to work with a little bit later on. We already talked about how much of a force he can be inside of this game mode. Pristini going to be able to grab the flag, but he is put into his place very quickly. 1-1, all knotted up, only 1:30 left inside of this round of capture the flag. And it is going to be a massive amount of map pressure coming in from Luminosity Gaming. Now Slack trying to do it, but 2 guns from EUnited going to take him out of the equation. Moving through Beer is going to be the carrier, John, and he is going to get this one. It is a windmill slam, putting Luminosity up in this series. But the question is, what can Silly do for his team? John starting to creep up here, though. If he can get one more kill, he is going to be the one to streak out as well.
Team kill coming in for EUnited, so they're down in the man count again here, as it is going to be a heavy offensive push and fire. John still playing his life. Slack able to pull that flag, but he's got a player to contest, and somehow he stays alive as he is able to get to that mid-map portion there. But this flag run is going to most likely slow down very effectively here as he's somehow still alive, surviving every single thing to now go up 3-1 here against EUnited.
Slack, yeah, going to be able to run another one in, and with only 30 seconds left, Luminosity starting to look really strong. We did see a flashy cap coming in from EUnited, but it may not be enough in this first round. Pressure, though, is going to go the way of EUnited just slightly as we do start to see these respawns and Pristini inside of mid. It is going to be Slack who is pushed up yet again. We've seen him be so offensive throughout this entire go. Clayster gets a kill onto Octane. Pristini going to be able to follow suit onto John, but both of them are not going to be enough for the likes of JCap. JCap now starting to push up towards mid. Round will close in the favor of Luminosity. 3-1 headed into this final round.
If you're EUnited, this is another day at the office, though, simply because of the fact that they were down 3-0, as our friends in Europe would say, and they still managed to get the game into overtime and win it. So this, just another day, man. This is another championship Sunday for them right now.
That's a really important thing, though, to note about both of these teams. We started to see it with LG inside of the search as well. What does it take to be one of the best teams in the world? What does it take to be the top 2 teams inside of NA, the top 2 seeded teams inside of this tournament? It takes the ability to have an absolutely horrible situation in front of you and still be able to win. EUnited, not out of this by any means yet, but the first one to pick up a flag is going to be John, and this just looks like a home run, running straight through mid. An easy cap to kick off this final round. 4-1, 4 minutes left.
That is not the break you wanted to have if you are EUnited, but they could still bounce back. Plenty of time to get 3 consecutive flags to tie this, but John's just still
murder everyone
pressure.
here. Look at this.
Fully streaked and double streaked at that. He double stacks his streaks here, and he's just wanting to continue to slay as he has completely overlapped those streaks, and he doesn't need to use them with a 4-1 lead quite yet. So he's going to save those as JCap is also going to be sneaking behind enemy lines on the water side of the map.
Those streaks are going to be absolutely huge. We've seen how big Flamethrower can be inside of something like Beer, which could just spell another easy cap coming in, and that's only one of them. Octane with the 2-piece here. Definitely looking strong inside of this one, 13-10, but it's John, 19-8 at this point. 19-8. You wondered how he got the streaks. That record definitely going to reflect it. And now it's going to be Octane, who looks like he should have an easy run playing around those streaks for just a second. The last stand going to be Arcides. Arcides going to be able to return and going to be able to grab the flag as well. But JCap in position to grab the flag, going to run it, and you can basically see both of these players running on opposite lanes at the time being. The question is, who is going to be able to get that return first? Clayster finds that big kill onto John. John, one of the hottest hands inside of the map so far. Another big win for Clayster. This time it's going to be onto Octane, crashing the base. Slack is able to defend against Silly. Flags still held by JCap and Arcides.
Pristini coming to support. Unfortunately, he will fall to Slack, and this stalemate is starting to draw on here. But Clayster playing his life very well, able to trade out that kill. Now trying to find the return flag, as it will be counter-capped here, or counter-pulled, I should say. Now he's going to most likely get that return, but instead decides he's just going to continue to run here. The flag will be returned, and this should be the second cap for Clayster, but he instead gets taken down by the streaks of John, and that has not been returned quite yet, but instead it does get captured. 4-2 now. EUnited able to see.
I actually got to talk to Clayster about this yesterday. Very good communication amongst the team as to who should be returning that flag, if someone is close enough, if something like Streaks does come in to actually grab it again. And that's why EUnited has been able to post that second one onto the board. They need 2 more to force this one to overtime. 4-2 in the favor of LG. Arcides in this one has been 8-13. We've seen how much he can clutch up in the past, but this time it's going to be Octane to take him down. He's been getting shut down over and over again. JCap going to get the flag this time, going to try to run it straight through mid, and it doesn't look like anyone will be able to catch up. You've seen how many rings that he can fit onto his fingers. Now you're going to see how many flags he can actually run in. That's going to be the second one for JCap.
Fantastic plays. One of the best CTF players that has played Call of Duty by a mile as well. As he's still playing his life, he will get taken down, leaving Octane to play defensively. John will get cleaned up as well. EUnited working on an offensive push, but Octane has an answer as he is still alive. And now Pristini trying to make a play to keep EUnited in this game with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Pristini able to pick up a crucial kill, but he is in trouble. A lot of players coming back from respawn, and that's going to leave Clay furthest pushed up here for EUnited. Can he get that kill to go home? He won't be able to survive, and that's going to let LG once again push up past mid-map.
Beautiful play coming out here from LG, not getting complacent. You can see the pressure that they're actually putting out. Everyone scooched up above that 50-yard line, but Arcides and Silly just going to take out 3. Now it's just Octane left, and Octane with some goatee shots going to have that line onto the flag, and he should be able to pull this one because it is EUnited who wants to get aggressive. Having the heads-up play, pulling it down the right lane as well. If a strong defense comes out here from Luminosity, it can be another cap, but good shot's going to come out from Clayster. That's going to take out Octane. Now it is going to be on Arcides to return that flag. Going to be able to do that, and that's going to be converted into a 3rd point here for EUnited, but with only 10 seconds remaining. Luminosity is ahead by 2. Looking phenomenal in the CTF. We talked about just how big CTF was actually going to be, the potential to be that swing round, and now Luminosity, the top dogs inside of this series against EUnited, trying to rewrite history. Last time they went against EUnited able to take them down, and that is the mark of where Luminosity started to struggle in Dallas. And now Luminosity is saying, look, that was a fluke. We are trying to correct it. We are trying to prove that we are the #1 seeded team when we arrived here in Montreal for a reason.
You're absolutely right, and they are putting on a show here this afternoon here in Montreal. And of course, they will take the lead once again. So far on Championship Sunday, LG has been flawless on respawn. Can they get it going on S&D here as they're 1-1? So far, but here you're starting to see some of those clutch plays coming in from Clayster for EUnited. That kill from the back there, able to get that return, but that was not before LG started to rally those flag caps, and even with those defensive stands by EUnited, it just fell short. It was just an incredible run from LG.
I think the big thing is with Luminosity, we have seen dominance in hardpoint. The last hardpoint that we did actually see was just so impressive. And if I remember correctly, isn't the next hardpoint going to be on Gibraltar?
It absolutely is.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's a good term to use for that. Yeah.
We actually have seen quite a bit of Gibraltar hardpoint so far in this tournament, which has been pretty interesting. Not something that I expected to see when I got on my plane to Canada. I didn't expect to be casting over too many of them. I expected somewhat of a redo of Dallas as far as vetoes were concerned from a lot of these teams, but we're seeing Gibraltar a lot more. And I actually got a chance to talk to Octane about Gibraltar, and the main thing that he stressed over and over again is how much he really is thinking about where they are spawning. And there is a very favored side starting things off.
Absolutely.
Because, and that's going to be the question, who does start in that favored side based off the vetoes? And if LG doesn't have that favored side, if someone like Octane can actually come in and flip out those spawns for his team.
Well, of course, Luminosity is going to be starting on that access side, so we'll be able to see how they'll be able to manage that spawn there. But, you know, EUnited, they are going to have to keep this slaying in check for sure. We had some performances that were a little slow on that CTF, but they can definitely get warmed up. These players are ready for this map number 4, and this series is not over yet here. It can really go the distance just based on how close that first hardpoint was.
I think the thing to note, though, for EUnited, while matched up against LG so far in this series, when we look at the first hardpoint, it probably was their weakest performance so far. So this is going to be difficult for EUnited, but they've done it before. They are that type of team that can come back in the last seconds. Gibraltar, one of those maps where a lot of things can happen, a lot of crazy things can happen. So looking at spawns, looking at those rotations to see if EUnited will be able to take this. Because when we watched their hardpoints earlier in this tournament, their rotations were absolutely flawless over and over and over again. It's going to be on the anchors, though. I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to Octane and to see what he can actually do to preserve spawns.
Especially starting on this side, too, because obviously the access is going to be spawning all the way.
This is that favored side, yeah.
Exactly.
So the big thing is if you are able to preserve these spawns going in after pit center, which is that 50-50 hill to kick things off. Big kills coming in here from JCap and John. Oh, JCap going to be able to get that third as well. Already starting to work towards those streaks handsomely. John finally is going to be put in his place. Luminosity, though, getting those first seconds onto the clock. Silly going to come alive here as well. But the big thing with preserving these spawns, the second hill basically just going to be right in your backyard.
Exactly,
So you just mosey
EUnited's
on
in a
over.
good position right now. They're just playing for those scrap points. They already know they're going to get a lot of points on that next rotation, as you mentioned before. But it's Octane's job here to slay out and see if he can help his teammates push. And John is working on just that. As he's working all the way back. This is a sneaky play by him. If he's able to stay alive just long enough to be able to pick up these kills, he will solidify those spawns, and he's not going to be able to do so. EUnited stay on the favorable side of the map, as now that hill is going to transition right away, and it's going to be Pristini that's just going to try to get some of those scrap points there. But as it is now, our city's sitting inside that objective, and he's got a teammate that is going to have to win a gunfight. Octane able to pick up one, and that's opening things up right now as the spawns do flip.
Look at that flip. You could see that it was actually JCap back there holding it for quite some time. And now Clayster gets that two-piece, but still with those spawns, they're just right there inside of it. They were able to flip out that spawn, sitting there now inside of Fort Courtyard.
Unfortunately there for the boys in LG, they are going to get slayed out there. Scrap points are going to be utilized here from EUnited, but at the end of the day, this rotation has to happen, and this is definitely not going to be an easy hill for EUnited to break, as JCap has set up really, really well here so far.
Yeah, we can see quite a few points going the way of EUnited at this point. JCap got to be able to get that nice kill there as well. Everybody here at the venue starting to go crazy as we move over to Castle Road, and LG gets that very early rotation there. LG going to be that team in red for you on that mini-map. They get that early rotation, and they need to emphasize this because the way that you can actually hold this, it's definitively the money hill inside of Gibraltar Hardpoint, because look how long that run is. You can actually see it is Pristini. He just has to go miles to actually get there. It's going to take 15 seconds to actually be able to get over. So second, Octane going to start shredding here. Takes out both Pristini and Arstees, looking for all the brothers. Now, about 70 seconds here for Luminosity. EUnited doing a much better job, though, so far inside of Hardpoint than they were last time at this point in the game. going to have 40 seconds on the clock. Octane looking for another one, having an absolute field day.
He absolutely is, and the fact that he's staying alive inside that objective is really going to pay dividends here shortly, but he's going to have to make sure he continues to stay alive. One player going to contest from top cat, but of course, Luminosity is in a good position to get those initial points to go their way, and they are slaying out. They're inside the objective. John able to stay alive inside that hard point, and he's got his teammates to support. This is really starting to turn for LG.
Yeah, and especially getting so many seconds here on Gun. Gun is another one of those contest fests. So nade heavy, but with JCap picking up another 2 here, just kills over and over, and look at how far they're able to push up. They just have such a strong hold here on Gun. Not something that you typically do see before we do get fresh rotation coming in on this map. We're going to be able to pick up every single second, throwing them all straight into the bank. Looking incredible is LG trying to close out the entire series here. Now the map will start to repeat itself in just a few short seconds.
Not only that, but there's a little bit of a split spawn going on as it is EUnited that's able to collapse in with 3 consecutive kills. That's leaving John to do a lot of the heavy lifting here. And remember, if you are EUnited, you have to push out these spawns and then go past the comms section of the map. Of course, as it is now, EUnited capitalizing on the points here in pit center. And it's Clayster that's getting warmed up now as he's staying alive inside the objective, getting those points to go their way. But unfortunately, it's going to be another break here from LG.
The thing that you need to note as well is the way that LG actually goes, they don't crash, they don't go for the early rotation onto pit center because they wrap back towards Fort Courtyard. They start to look for those spawns very early. They don't have the ideal spawns, but they are definitely favored, and they're going to be able to get it as they do have JCap right now who can start to move back, start to anchor for that team, start to influence those spawns with only some scrap time remaining onto pit center. And this was the big thing that we were talking about going into this match, is how favored this side really can be, and they are so far ahead that they want to ensure a hill that they can hold. They don't want to invest too much into a 50-50 hill. So beautiful plays coming out there from LG. They are going to be set up nice and early here on board with John, trying to hold that line right over the barrel, trying to see who will peek out because he is primed to cut them down. Arstides and Clayster both going to be able to pick up some nice kills here. Silly is going to be seen by John, unable to pick up that kill though. John will move back, thinks that he sees somebody. Good ears from him, not enough to do it, but we will see that JCap's taken out by Arstides in the meantime. Fort Courtyard, though, still being held by Luminosity Gaming as they hit 160. John not going to be able to take out both of the players from EUnited as they make their way on over.
Oh my God!
Octane!
6-kill spree from Octane as he is just a few points away from getting his last streak. And that is exactly why LG is so dangerous, because he could just make it absolutely look easy with that machine pistol, fully streaked out, shooting bodies, and Luminosity is trying to close it out here as best as they can. But of course, it's going to be EUnited.
Shot at the body.
Exactly.
He wouldn't have died there, shot at the body. So I think the big thing too is when I talked to Octane about this map, he talked about what he could do when he is that AR player, when he starts to get in those positions. And now Luminosity going to have the streaks of Octane as well. 50 seconds remaining here on Castle Road. Luminosity just putting on a show for us. JCap going to be able to get the 2-piece as well. Octane, though, 25-9, now 26, looking to drop 30 here. Now John going to be able to take out Arstides. John has looked incredible as well. The streak's not done yet. This is going to mean Castle Road is a freebie for Luminosity. Octane going to get, one of them is going to be John, but gets the 2-piece there. Octane 27-9, still going as well.
And they're just racking up these points, and EUnited has no response at all. 12 seconds left. Finally, they're going to be able to break the hill, but only to stop the bleeding for the next rotation, because this is going to be a crucial rotation back to that turret hardpoint. Meanwhile, you're seeing Slack pick up all of those scrap points. Streaks now coming in to try to solidify those spawns as well. And that is going to be John, most likely, that's going to be able to touch that hard point alongside JCap. And this is looking like the hold that Luminosity needs to close things out. But EUnited able to get some trades to go through. And Clayster now trying to just keep those players at bay from contesting the hard point.
And we do know how Octane going to be able to get 3 off of his streak here. LaRue is definitively shredding. He has broke that 30-point mark. 32 for Octane. Going to get another one here outside of the streaks before Clayster can take him out. Now John gets 2 as well. Starting to get some time here on Gun. They can do it here, but just barely. EUnited needs to contest, needs to throw as many nades as possible into gun. That is their best answer. Starting to come in now. Looking to get those kills. JCap going to come up huge for the team before Silly is able to take him out. EUnited making their last stand. Now Luminosity very close to being able to take it on gun. But that new hard point, they need just 1 second. EUnited trying to hold. This one is going to be dead center of the map. We're getting that fresh set of rotations. Pit center, not the easiest place to hold. Luminosity going to be able to flood in over and over again from their spawns, but Silly and Clayster holding tight. Pristini going to be able to take out Octane as well. 38 seconds left. Moving around the outside. Silly going to find Slacked. Arseny's getting a 2-piece. Octane finally gets a kill, but Silly says no way. EUnited starting to hold strong here. Luminosity just needs 1 second to close out not only this map, but the series. EUnited with a lot to say about that.
This is looking like the comeback is starting to rally, but remember, only 1 second in LG's favor will win this map. Slacked trying to get that last second, and they break in, and they finish out strong right there.
Nobody is going to be able to play around Octane when he does that. Breaks that 30-point mark, dropping an absolutely astronomical amount of kills. And that means LG has finally done it. They've been able to overtake EUnited. That was a team that was able to beat them in Dallas. And now they have that first seat, the best seat inside of the grand final. EUnited, though, for all you fans out there, are not out of it yet. They will have to go to that loser's bracket, and it's not going to be an easy run. But if any team can do it, it is going to be them. And I saw you looking at that scoreboard. That's right. Octane 37-15. He couldn't quite do 40, but he's got a grand final to try to do that.
When you got almost 2 minutes in the hill.